time to choose your own adventure. Actually, I'm choosing the adventure for you. Hello, and welcome to the Weeder Life podcast. I'm your host, Erica Weederlight, and I am the CEO and founder of We the Light. I help humans who feel inadequate, broken, self-conscious, and shamed around their sexuality to reclaim their aliveness, their power, and to have a renewed relationship to pleasure while preparing themselves to feel hella confident to date others and themselves. AKA, I'm guiding people to live their #best lives. I have to give you a fair warning. I do unfortunately swear like a drunken sailor, so if you do have little ones by you, just be sure to pop in some earbuds. All right, friends, let's buckle up and let's rock it to this week's episode. All right, let's do it. I have all the feels today. I feel like I always have the feels, and I know I always am like, I have the feels about this episode, but I have the feels, the deep feels about this episode. We'll talk about it, but, you know, we all have an interesting relationship to rest. It's like it's not a cute, not the cutest, or I should say, not the sexiest part of this work. And it's funny, I really will get into all the things, get into all the details, but I really was ready to talk about like self-love, self-care. I know we sprinkled that into like other episodes, but I was like, I think it's time to like go ham and like go in and like give an hour to those topics. Like it's time. And then my body was like, no. And I was like, shit. I was like, fuck, please. Because I could talk about self-care, self-love till I'm blue in the face. I've done 107 podcast guest episodes on this. I've been a guest on a podcast, I should say, about self-love. And I do speaking event, like, give her a mic, let's go. Let's let her, hi, tell me the things. I'll tell you the things. I'll answer your questions. That's my real house. My real house? My wheelhouse. It's early. It's both of them. It's both my real and my wheelhouse. I'm sorry, I'm making up words, but we love it. We love the journey. But the wheelhouse, the real house, let me tell you what's not my wheelhouse/real house, is rest. As you can tell from my very aggressive energy, rest is a tricky bitch for me. Rest is hella triggering for me. So when I slowed down, I was like, yeah, like, I'm going to do the next episode on self-care, self-love. My body was like, you going to do it on rest. And I was like, I'm fucked. Because we practice what we preach over here, even though it's hard. Like, I am #no angel. However, I am ushering people through deep work. And it's important for me to be in integrity. It's important for me to practice what I preach. You fucking know people that, like, I'm sure you've, come into spaces with coaches or healers or therapists that you're like, ooh, they're spewing a lot of shit. Like they're regurgitating a lot of shit, but they don't fucking practice what they preach, and I don't want to be that person because I have been, I've worked with those people and I'm like, I don't like this. And it doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel good. So I had to like lovingly out myself on this episode, and I've done a lot of work on rest and she's got a lot of work to do, like it's the pleasure conversation we had a few weeks ago, like there's different flavors. We love flavors. But there's different flavors. It's like learning a new language. You know what I mean? Like we're getting into the deep stuff, and that's with rest, for a long time, or I lied. Let's go back to pleasure. For a long time, I was pretty 101 with pleasure. Now that I teach this and I have been doing this shit for years, I'm more seasoned. I have a more, deeper relationship to pleasure. Rest, however, I'm still in 101, 102 land, and my intention, my desire is to deepen that relationship to rest, relaxation, letting go. Like that's my intention. And I'm sure since you're on this episode, I'm sure a part of you is like, yeah, me too. So before we go in, we got tales, we got tricks, we got tips, we got all the tales of Sweeney Todd. Before we go in, I just wanted to energetically hand you over a permission slip. And it sounds corny, but go with me on this journey. Take that permission slip from my hands. And in this permission slip, it's this like juicy ass permission slip. And it is a permission slip. How many times can I say permission slip? This can be a game. But to let you rest and allow rest into your life. Allow relaxation, allow rest into your life. And we'll talk about, what the hell that even looks like. We'll talk about, how you even make space for that. But before we get into all of the things about rest, let's just take a deep breath and allow that rest into our lives, because so often we don't even fucking allow it. We'll talk about why, but there's a lot of shame that comes with rest. I'll feel lazy. I'm not allowed. I'm not worthy. So before we even get to the good stuff, I just wanted to hand you a permission slip over that it is safe to rest. It's okay to rest. It's actually great to rest. And I actually want to do a little reframe here. Like we talked about, we're going to go deep into it. This culture teaches us that rest is bad, dirty, lazy, you're a piece of shit. We know all the conditioning. We don't need to go too deep into it. So instead of looking at rest as something that's like holding us back and this like, fuck, I have to give up these 9 hour, if we're lucky, but these 9 hours in my day, where I could be producing or doing something, my suggestion is instead of looking at rest as this like annoyance, this like ugly cousin, like this like, this like murky shadow in the room that we all want to avoid in this productivity culture. Can we look at rest as actually a component to your success? I know that you're like, oh, that feels sticky. I know. We'll talk about why it's sticky, why it's triggering, why it's resistant, but I'm just going to gently throw that there. Instead of looking at rest as this thing that holds us back, that feels, ugh, can we look at rest as a component to your success? So I'm still trying this on too. You know what I mean? Like I teach myself and I teach my clients that like part of my success is doing my mindset, is doing pleasure, is taking good care of myself. And now I'm adding that like rest is a component to my success, because when I rest, I can let go, I can shed, I can make space for newness, I can reset my fucking nervous system. I can't be a good space holder or a good business owner if I'm crunchy as hell, I can't, I'm not there, I'm not present, I'm not conscious. So my suggestion is realizing and recognizing that rest is an element to success. I know. We'll get there. We will get there. To be quite honest, I marked this episode out, so I know. A majority of the episode is on rest. But a piece that I did want to shed to light? What? We're shedding it to light. I mean, I guess you can shed it to light. Bringing to the light, we're shedding, it's coming to the surface, is this component of digestion and framing and looking at shit. And why I say that is we need to process what the fuck is going on. I know at least me. Let me talk for myself and let me talk for a majority of my clients. I, Erica, need to process before I can relax. I don't know about you, but I'm sure you've been like, I'm going to relax tonight and I'm going to watch a Netflix movie. And then your brain's like, like going through the files. I feel crunchy. I feel anxiety. So I know for me, I personally need to frame, digest, blot it all out before I can relax. Because then I can't fully relax. I can't fully surrender. I need to shed. I need to digest. So before we get into this like juicy ass conversation about relaxation, we got to talk about shedding. We got to talk about digesting. We got to talk about framing. So I know I talk about her all the time, but she's got good stuff. So this is why we talk about her. My coach, one of my people, one of my teachers, Regina Thomashower, talks about digestion. And I don't even know. I've talked so much. So if you heard this before from me, keep it going. If you haven't, great. But Regina talks about digestion like it's a Thanksgiving feast, right? It's like you really, really want that pumpkin pie, but you're like, I am so fucking full. Like I will be ill if I have that pumpkin pie. Like I gotta rest for a second. I maybe gotta walk around the neighborhood with my cousin. I got to digest this meal before I have that pumpkin pie. And that's kind of like our emotions, our body, like Regina says, I'm going to butcher the saying, but you get it. Undigested/unprocessed thoughts, feelings, emotions, they just turn to shit. Like they just turn to shit. It's funny. And I'll talk about this a lot, but I just went to the happiest place on earth, Disney World. But I went to Disney World and a lot of stuff happened, that all different things that need to be processed. But for the most part, it was a great, great trip. And I'm feeling, and this morning it was torture city to get to do this podcast. Like truly torture city. And I'm like, why? I just am coming off a great week. It's because I haven't, first of all, let's just pause here. We know Disney World. I mean, we knew Disney and Universal. You're fucking exhausted. Mickey kills you. Like you're tired as hell. Harry Potter killed me. Like I am physically very tired. Very grateful, but very fucking tired. So the exhaustion, all of that is at play, sure. But I haven't digested the good. Like I haven't digested the fun rides. I haven't digested the amazing conversations. I haven't digested, eating, you don't need to fucking digest everything, but like I haven't digested, eating the fucking Mickey head that I've wanted for years. This is such a fucking random sidebar, but I've been dying for the last few years. I'm like, I gotta go to Disney World, well, / Universal, of course, because I love Harry. But I gotta go to Disney World because honestly, they're so smart there. They could put a fucking Mickey head on anything. And I'm like, I need it. I need that pretzel with Mickey's head on it. I need this. So this is a total fucking sidebar, but they're just marketing geniuses. And I need to digest that. Like I've wanted that for so long. And I got to have my fucking ice cream Mickey head and my little Mickey pretzel and my butterbeer and all the things, like I need to digest and frame all that, like in my body, in my brain to be like, oh, that was good. And, it's funny because, whenever you're listening to this episode, for me in real time, I think it's December 7th. And, I'm a type of person, as you probably can, hear over time, I'm very ritualistic. And for me, the last month of the year is really important to me. I'm like, I really want to go out with a bang, not aggressively, but like, I want to prove January me all the things. It's a little, a little fucked, but, but I want to show up as my best self. Like I really want to go out with a bang so I can open up for the next year. I can't do that right now because I am so unprocessed. I'm so sticky. I'm sweating my ass off right now, but I'm so sticky. I'm so crunchy that I actually can't do that. And my brain, of course, my overactive brain is like, let's just get, let's produce, let's set this podcast up. Let's get the clients, I want to be there, but it's physically not happening because I need to process this last week. I need to digest all the shit that just happened, the good, bad, and ugly stuff that just happened. I need to then rest and digest and let my nervous system breathe. And then bada bing, bada boom, we can make moves. It feels counterintuitive because we always just want to keep going. But you know the deal. There's a breaking point. Burnout is real. Breaking points are real. Before we got into this conversation about relaxation and rest, we have to talk about digestion. We got to frame it. I'm an aggressive human, as you can probably notice. It doesn't happen, but I try to frame every day or every week. It's funny. So I went on this trip with my partner and I was like, all right, give me your favorite frames of the day. And he, he's such a good sport. And he was like, oh my God, like she's doing all her coaching shit with me. I'm like, oh, what were your favorite frames? Tell me what you saw, what you noticed, or what'd you feel? He's like, all right, I'll do this. But it's good, and especially within a partnership or within a friendship or whatever, it's nice I need to frame for myself, but it is a nice thing to frame with others and to digest with others. Like, oh my God, that experience was amazing. Or I did love that. So framing, just so you know, is just basically digesting, processing, highlights, moments of the day, of the week, of the month. This is also a great thing to do every month, to be honest. You're like, oh my God, I frame, I brought in 2 new clients or I worked out 3 times a week. It's just reflecting on what happened, good, bad, and ugly. You just need to process. And another way I do this is for my pro students, and actually it helps me frame a lot, is I frame in the way, we talked about this before, but in another episode, but I frame through celebrations / gratitude. So yes, like I'll take the Disney example, right? So we would frame oh, I love this. But then we would frame within the lens of celebration and gratitude. So that is my little pro tip to you. So here's an example. So, okay, we're framing through celebration, right? So, okay, well, this is actually truth. So we actually went from the airport, which again was a choice on my behalf. But we went to what did we do? We went from, had to think about it, from the airport to one of my great friends' weddings. It was a fucking amazing wedding, which I need to digest, like seeing all these amazing humans, being in the company of great people that I love, I need to process that. That was fucking amazing. And so let's take that example. That day, we'll take Saturday, right? So I'm framing Saturday, right? So let's take it in the lens of celebration. So Erica, celebrate/brag on myself that I was prepared a week in advance. I laid my dress out. I laid my Spanx, my little, deodorant and perfume. I brag that I had us move our flight earlier. I brag being an amazing aunt and going fucking ham at all the Harry Potter stores. I brag, even though I went ham, I still, honored my money and had a good relationship to my money. Whatever, you get what I'm saying. You get how we frame within brag/celebrations. Great. Then we shift to, I would say desire. We don't do that. We shift to gratitude. So if we're framing within the lens of gratitude, I'm so grateful that my flight was only delayed 10 minutes. So I got to go to the wedding with ease and grace. I'm so grateful that this beautiful, amazing wedding was literally steps away from my partner's apartment. Literally. It's amazing. I'm so grateful that my partner and I could have amazing conversations, amazing communication when things got hard. I am so happy and grateful that this was my first trip since COVID. What else? Trying to frame throughout the day. There's so much. But, you take the day and you frame, like I said, celebrations and gratitudes. I'm so grateful that I found a Disney painting that I have wanted for the last year, and I found it. Whatever. You get what I'm saying. So you digest the day, frame, then you frame it through celebrations, brags on yourself, then you frame it through gratitude. Sound good? It really helps you move shit through your body, and you just are like, I feel processed, which then allows you space to relax. This stuff is hard, and we're going to we're going to talk about this, but resting is really hard in this society. It's looked down on, it's shunned, it comes with a lot of shame, and this is why I do the work that I do with my clients. You can't have pleasure if your nervous system is on overdrive. You can't, and I was going to talk about this later, but because I was feeling burnt out and I didn't, we had a lot going on. And I did my work this week, on vacation, but I could have done more. I could have leaned into more frames and rest and relaxation. But because I didn't do that as much as I wanted to, and no shame towards me, but I got a little bit crunchy. She was a little crunchy by the end. And a little snip-snappy. A little snip-snappy. So I was just more easily triggered. Where if I was, processing and digesting and allowing myself to breathe and relax and focusing on pleasure, I wouldn't be triggered. Those things wouldn't bother me. But I was like, I feel contracted. I feel tight. And that's why this is a huge component of having healthy relationships. If you're like, okay, I'm doing my work to relax and be at peace and, have pleasure, your relationships flow way more easily. They flow, but when we're in a state of contraction, shit doesn't flow. You're in a state of, and this is gross, but you're in a state of sorry to be fucking graphic, but clenched ass. You know what I mean? It's if you're in clenched ass mode, you're not going to be, I'll say it's very hard to be in free flowing, love is moving through me and we're, in partnership and in union, blah, 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 blah. That's not happening. You're in such a fucking state of contraction, which is where I was by the end of the trip, that I was like, I'm triggered by you doing anything, So that's a huge component of this work, of having healthy relationships with others, with yourself, having deep love, having successful dating, feeling confident. You can't be fucking confident, or it's hard, I should say. It's really fucking hard to be confident AF if you're in a state of contraction and in a state of clenched butt. It's hard. It's really hard. Because as we talked about, this work is about being in your body. So with that being said, you know the deal if you've listened to this episode. I'm here to support. I'm here to, hold space for people that really want to do this fucking work and want to feel alive and want to feel free flowing and want to live, live their best, it's corny, but live their best lives. We have a short time here and it's a shame if we waste it. So I'm here. My little baby pitch is come find me on all the things. I should, my shit should be attached to my show notes, but I'm on the gram at @WeTheLight_LLC. Go to my website, www.wethelite.org. I am relaunching my one-to-one program, which fills up fucking fast. And with that, my free sales calls fill up fucking fast. So you know the deal. Every month I open up just a handful of spots for my 60-minute coaching program, or 60-minute coaching program. She's tired. 60-minute coaching, free coaching. It's a discovery call, and I close them. So what this is, we multitask over here. So head over to my website while I'm talking, www.wethelight.org, and click book a call, schedule a call. It's all over my website. So what I do, like I said, really only a handful of spots, and they're going to get trimmer and trimmer as time goes on because I'm filling the spots very quickly. So what I do is every month I open the calendar and then I close the calendar. And what you get in this 60 minutes, it's fucking free, which is crazy. But we do a mini session. We talk about, maybe something that came up for you in the podcast. We talk about your desires. We do a mini session. You get a taste of what it's like to work with me. And it's free. And you get tips, tools, tricks. I want you to leave feeling like if I work with you or not, I got something good. My intention is that you feel like, boom, I feel inspired. I feel seen. I feel turned on. I feel like I have a next step. If you want to work with me, God bless America. We'll talk about that. We'll see if we're in alignment for each other. If not, God bless. Now we just became friends, so you got a friendship out of it. But again, that goes like hot cakes. And again, because I'm relaunching this program in January, shit's going to fly. It's going to fly. So even if you just want to hop on a call just to discuss, just to see, I don't know why, I don't even know what the fuck you really do, but I want to talk to you. I'm interested in what you do. Let's just talk. It's a 60-minute call. We do all the things. We talk about all the things. It's great. I personally love it, and I get to connect with amazing people. So hop on it. Hop on that 60-minute call. And like I said, if that feels too aggressive, you could stalk my Insta. You get my free book. That's also at the website. But I wanted to throw that in because I know sometimes listening to podcasts, it's like, this is great. This is great. What the hell do I do next? So I wanted to interject and give you an outlet of this is what you can do next. This is the thing that could help you integrate all the stuff that we're talking on the podcast. Instead of being a concept in your head, this can be your new reality. This can be your new life, if you will. And it's funny, speaking of, the launch that I talked about, my ego / my nervous system was really scared. It's funny. I checked in with my body and I'm like, hey, what do we want to do with this launch? And my body was like, oh, no, we got to wait till January. We actually have to wait till January. You're not going to be okay. But my brain and my nervous system was, they were scared. They were super, super scared. And they wanted me to, what happens if this doesn't work? And blah, 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 and they wanted me to produce and move through it. And it felt crazy to do. But so often, for so many of us, it feels more safe to push through than to surrender and to relax. And for a long time, my nervous system was on autopilot and it was in fight or flight, gotta go, or gotta fight, gotta keep moving, even though I feel very uncomfortable and very, horrible, honestly. And I felt like if I didn't keep moving, I would die. I felt like I would die or I couldn't keep up. My personal hell would be like this, going on a week vacation and then coming back. First of all, I was I had the fear of my business is going to be done, which is so funny, I was like, my business is over. And then it's today I start and it's you have a podcast, you have 2 clients, oh wait, it's not over. But my brain told me this story that you're done, you're dead, you ruined everything. And so often our brain and our bodies do tell us that fake story. If we don't keep pushing, if we don't keep going, we're fucked, essentially. And it's that primal survival tale, keep moving. And our brain is this, and we talked about this in the mindset episode, but the brain is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It so wants to help us, but it wants us to survive at the end of the day. The brain wants us to survive. We'd be happy if we thrived, but it's about us surviving, it's just about us surviving. And so they're rest, that's irrelevant. You just need to keep going. You just need to, they just want us to survive and be okay. So rest, thriving feels like a threat to our brain because they're listen. I know what you're trying to do here, but we just need to survive. Like we just need to get through this. We need to keep hustling. That's cute that you're offering, this fluffy thriving nonsense, but not today. You know what I'm saying? So this is a 2-part effort of like talking to our brain, making sure our brain knows, hey babe, it's safe to rest. It's safe to rest. And I'm going to give it to you, and I'm going to have a relationship with rest that feels nourishing to you, right? And then also the body, soothing the nervous system and learning your flavor of how to soothe your nervous system and making time for that during the day. It doesn't, it's one of those things where it's like, gotta keep moving. I suggest making time to soothe your nervous system every day. It doesn't need to be this whole fucking thing. You don't need to go to Tibet to meditate in the mountain. You don't need to do it. Is that an option? Sure. But I don't need you to do this crazy, crazy, crazy form of self-care. Even if it's just drinking a cup of tea, maybe even stroking as I throw my laptop, just punched my laptop because my eyes were closed. But, right now I'm feeling on overdrive. You probably could hear it in my voice. My body just needs to like it needs to collapse. So right now I'm like gently stroking my throat, my chest. It doesn't need to be this whole thing. And actually it's funny when I go on sales calls and also client calls, when I feel a client is like spiraling or I feel out of control, and I am like, Erica, you're the one holding space for these people. I actually self-soothe. So maybe I'm, on the call, maybe I'm like stroking my hand, maybe I'm grounding into my legs. I'm making sure I feel safe. I make sure that I'm breathing and I'm making sure that I'm taken care of. But here's my little thing for you. Maybe you need to set alarms throughout the day, whatever. But my little tip for you is to get good at knowing your nervous system, what you need, and how to soothe yourself. Because we get fucking triggered all day. You know the deal. We get triggered. We get annoyed. We have all, this is why we frame. So we digest all this. But this, we have all of these feels throughout the day and we keep pushing. We keep ignoring. So let's get good at listening to our body, tuning in and soothing and nurturing and nourishing, almost like we're a parent. And I know we touched upon that in another episode, but almost like we're the best parent in the world, really coming in and nourishing and making sure our bodies, our brains know it's safe to breathe. It's safe to relax. It's safe to feel good. It's safe to have ease. That's a whole thing we could talk about, for another day. But giving that message to our brain/body that like, hey, it's safe. It's safe for us to relax. And if something gets sticky, if something gets weird, I trust myself enough to figure it out, to move through it. But we so often don't give ourselves permission to relax, to surrender, it feels so much safer to be in the dominance role, to be in the dom, if you will, but like to be in this dominant role, even though it doesn't feel good sometimes, but like, it's okay. I got to push through, there's space for that, like we sometimes do have to be productive. We do live in a society that has money, like that, we do have to be productive. So there is a space for like, I'm going to hustle, not even hustle, but like, I'm going to get shit done and I'm going to be productive. Like, hell yeah. I'm not saying erase that, but then there also is space. And can we open the gap just a little bit more for this energy of surrender? So yes, let's do the things. Let's go out there. Like I'm making this fucking pot. This is a producing energy, like I'm going out there. I'm doing the thing. I'm being seen. But how can I open up space just a little bit more for surrender, for trusting, for being in free flow, for leaning in? It doesn't have to be 50-50 if that feels too aggressive yet. If that feels too aggressive, no problem. But how can we let the surrender? How can we let it's funny. I just felt myself like drop my shoulders. Like my shoulders were to my ears, probably as you could feel at the beginning of the episode. And my shoulders just dropped a little bit. I'm like moving my body right now. Maybe we'll get a little crack in. I'm doing a little hip circle, a little back crack. But how can I invite this energy in a little bit more? This like space of like, jaw drop energy. And what's funny is I actually needed to learn, and maybe you feel the same way, and we'll talk about this a little bit, but like I needed to learn like what the fuck rest was, because it's like, I don't know about you, but like that's not really something that gets passed on to us. It's not like, I'm going to teach you what rest is, honey. It's like what you learn from television, what you hear from your friends. And my two flavors of rest, I mean, I probably had more, but like before actively working on it, my two flavors of rest probably was Netflix or like TV, and was maybe like a spa day, nothing else. I just didn't have an education on it. And again, it's like the pleasure conversation. Like at first my pleasure was like, oh, I guess sex. And then, and then I was like, no, you could have pleasure in eating and sense. And that like it eventually grew. But in the beginning of my rest journey, it was kind of like, I guess I watch Netflix and get a massage, which is great. Like we'll add those to the list. Like those serve its purpose, but I didn't have a formed relationship to rest. And I'm still growing it, honestly. And I still have to practice it because my brain is very cute. My brain likes to come in and tell me rest isn't important. And so I have to say, oh no, that's not true, brain. So this relationship wasn't completely defined. It just wasn't defined. And it's still growing. It's still, evolving. We're humans. We evolve, we change. But it's gotten a lot richer over time. And how I did this, and this is my suggestion to you, is it's time to choose your own adventure. Actually, I'm choosing the adventure for you. I named that and I'm like, no, wait, I'm giving you a tool. So we'll say it's choose your own adventure time. I'm also noticing I sing a lot in this podcast. I'm like, should we do this every time? Like, should we have like, it's like Blue's Clues or is Blue's Clues, we just got a letter. 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 Wonder who it's from. Yeah. If you heard pauses within my voice, I was thinking if I could match it. I'm like, we just got a tool. We just got a tool. Please don't sue me, whoever does Blue's Clues. I'm like, is this allowed? Is this allowed? But I feel like because I sing literally all the time in this fucking podcast that I should just have it's tool time, like to have our like ba-da-ba. All right, here we go. So it's adventure time, even though it's not a choose your own adventure because I'm telling you the tool. But here we go. It's a Monday. I'm tired. All right, so choose your own adventure. So what helped me advance my rest practice is I had to learn. I had to go out there and kind of play Inspector Gadget and be like, ooh, like this feels good, this doesn't. So what I suggest is, I'm a note girl, a note phone girl. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I definitely said it somewhere. I should check because I might be wrong on the math. But we'll give an estimate. This is very disturbing. My inner Virgo is shocked by this, but I have 28,000 notes on my phone. Hold on. Let's just check. Let's check. I think it might be, let's see, hold on. Gotta put the password in, okay. I'm not going to tell you what the password is. All right, notes. Please hold. Please hold. Guys, notes got deleted. I just got a new, oh, that's bad. Oh no, well, I wish I didn't check it. Damn, I checked it, because I checked it maybe 2 weeks ago, because we were talking about notes, and I remember in my group chat, I'm like, guys, I have 28,000 notes. Or like 20-something thousand notes. And they're like, what? And I just checked and I don't have that. And it's because I got a new phone last week. Damn it. All right. I'm glad now I have that phone anxiety. Glad I really checked that live. But anyway, I still have like 3,000 notes on there. Not 28,000. I'm like, where'd they go? But I still have like a solid 3,000 notes on there. Regardless if you have 1 or 3,000 or 30,000 notes, what I suggest is on your notes section of your phone or a journal. I like the notes because you're always on your fucking phone. I would pull up a note, wherever it may be, digitally or paper. And on the top of the note, I would write rest menu. And you can put a little emoji if you're feeling crazy. If you're feeling crazy, you can put a little emoji. But go do that now. Do that now because I know you're not going to want to do it later. And you're going to be like, this isn't important, so I'm not going to do it. So go to your phone or take a piece of paper that you will look at consistently and write rest menu and then find a cute emoji. Rest menu. And underneath the menu, I know for me, like I said, I probably had 2 bullet points for a long time. It was like Netflix, hibachi in bed. Well, actually, I've never eaten hibachi in bed. I feel like that would be messy. But hibachi and spa day. And then over time, I started getting good at listening. Oh, this isn't a form of rest. I'm literally just going to look out the window and for hours, or I'm going to do this meditation in bed, or whatever. But my invitation is write that rest menu in your phone, put a few tabs or a few, bullet points of what comes right away. And then if you need help with this, if you're like, girl, I'm drawing a blank, no problem, I'll help you. Like I help this, with people all the time. So I'm happy to give you ideas. We could, bounce ideas off of each other of your particular flavor of rest. Here's a pro tip. So, we'll write a few in. The pro tip is, if you're like, I'm drawing a blank today, so if you're like, all right, I'm going to go today, I'm going to go to my little rest menu and I got nothing or nothing's resonating. Pro tip is, I want you to check into your body and see what your body needs. Because you may be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to this menu and do Netflix. But your body's like, nah-uh. So I want you to have this rest menu. Here's why. Because when we're resistant, when we don't want to do shit, we're not going to go grab, we're not going to do it. So I want you to have a tool in your toolbox that you can actually reach for. Because this shit sounds all nice in theory. It's like, hey, I'm going to rest more. I'm going to take care of myself. Yeah, that sounds good. But if we don't have something holding us accountable, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So you might be like, fuck this note. It's in my phone. So it might hold you lovingly, a little bit accountable. So I want you to keep that note in there. Again, if you're drawing a blank of what the fuck do I put on this rest menu, I'm here to help. I'm down to, brainstorm some ideas with you. And pro tip, if you got nothing that day and your body's like, I need to rest, but you got nothing, just lean in, ask your body, hey babe, what do you need? How can I support you? What do you need in this moment to feel nourished, nurtured, alive, taken care of? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And we talked about this briefly, but I can sense, this whole conversation is like a little trigger-y, but I can sense the resistance in this menu. I think you're like, that's great, Erica. I'll listen to the rest of the podcast to get the other tips and tricks. I'm going to pass on this menu idea. So I can sense the resistance. I can feel the resistance of this is a little crunchy crazy. This is a little bit crunchy. And it is crunchy. And usually shit that we're resistance to is gold at the end of the tunnel. It's gold. There's a reason you're resistant to it. There's some good nugget in there. And I feel you. I see you. This shit is resistant. The resistance. There is resistance jam-packed for fucking so many of us, I should say. And we talked about before, our brains are going to tell us rest isn't important. The brain's goal is for us to survive, to keep us alive, to protect us. Not really to thrive, sure, they'll take it, but that's not their primary goal. It's to survive, to go out there, be protected. But rest is a component of thriving. So your brain, we can't, as much as our brain is the best, we can't trust our brain on this. We kind of have to lovingly help ourselves. I was going to say, lovingly keep ourselves accountable to keeping rest in our forefront. We have to lovingly, gently make rest a priority because our brain's not going to do it for us. And that's okay. And that's why I say the menu thing. So when you're scrolling through notes and seeing other shit, you're like, God damn it. Oh, God, this fucking menu. That means I have to rest. I want you to set those little reminders for yourself. All right. This is another point in the episode where we'd be singing. We'd be singing a song. I'm like, what's another song? Oh, that's a Dora song. I'm the map. Where there's a place you gotta get, I can get you there, I bet. I'm the map. I'm the map. Oh, God, guys. This is a sidebar, and I know you're really interested in this story, but I can't believe I'm sharing this with you. And if you want the picture, I'm happy to send it to you. But when I was, when I got out of college, I was a starving artist. And someone's like, do you want to work this birthday party? And it's like, I need your theater, improv. And I was like, yes, I'm thrilled. I'm needed. I'm an actor. And so I went to this birthday party and Quentin, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. But I told my friend Quentin, I'm like, Q, we got an acting gig, and I was like, oh my gosh. I thought we're going to be improving. We're getting paid well. I'm so jazzed. And when I got there, and I was 21, 22 years old, and I'm like, here I am. And I was Dora the Explorer with the head. With the fucking head, like Mickey Mouse, which is great. There's no shade in that. My ass couldn't see. I was bumping into children. Quentin at one point grabbed me, and I couldn't see him. And he's like, Erica, your head is on sideways. babies. So I'm very sorry that I probably scared so many children. But I have a very interesting relationship to Dora. Dora the Explorer, here she is, her first acting gig. She's a star, party people. I know you're very interested about that, but I'm like, oh, Dora makes me feel all the feels. Loved Dora for so long until I didn't. All right, moving on. So, I'm the map. Right? It's Tool time. Where's Tim Allen? He's in the Santa Claus. He's eating cookies, but we're bringing Tim Allen. It's Tool time. Again, this would be a song. Preferably one that's not famous so I don't get in trouble for the rights. But first and foremost, it's Tool time. Let's do it. So I would love for you to first and foremost redefine your relationship to rest. Because like before I'm going to be like, now you're going to rest. You're going to be like, bitch, I have fucking charge on this shit. Or like, I don't know what I want this to look like. And this may change over time, but I want you to maybe, blah out your relationship to rest. Like, I hate rest. We need to process how we feel about this before we jump into relaxation. So I want you to redefine your relationship to rest, what it is now, what you want it to look like, maybe creating that menu, just starting to dip, before we go in ham, starting to dip the toe in the rest pool. And like I said earlier, when something feels foreign, we're just not going to do it. You know what I mean? Like when something's like, that's nice. And I see that so often with my pleasure clients. So like, that's nice. Pleasure sounds fun, but not for me. So that's the same with rest. We're like, oh, that sounds great, but not for me. Okay, no problem. So like, we're lovingly going to hold ourselves accountable. We're lovingly going to think and ponder how we want this relationship to go. And I want you to start to get really good at listening to what you need versus what you think rest should be. So I know for me, for so often, I'm like, I'm #resting. But it's like, bitch, you're watching, Sabrina the Teenage Witch and writing 3 newsletters. That's actually not resting. Or you're watching The Real Housewives as you're doing social media. Like, I was like, I'm so rested. It's like, actually, you're getting very stressed when Teresa flips the table. Like, you're not fucking resting. And it's okay. There is a space for Teresa flipping the frickin' table. A family as thick as thieves. But maybe that's not in your rest menu. Does that make sense? So, like, getting good at being like, what the hell do I need right now? What is my intuition? What is my body saying? And this is a great bridge to getting good at our intuition. What does my body need versus what do I think rest is? What has culture told me rest is? Sound good? We'll also, as we talked about before, we'll add the digestion bit, we'll add the framing bit in there. So anything you need to process with frames, with celebrations, with gratitudes. If you're still feeling crunchy, maybe you're like, okay, I need to, do a little dance break in my room. I need to breathe. I need to journal, allowing yourself space to move that shit through you so you can deeply fucking relax. And then the last piece of this is write it in the cal. We know the deal. If you don't schedule that shit, it's not going to happen. And here's the thing. You don't need to be aggressive about it. I know today, like, I'm feeling it. I'm sure you feel it within me. I'm tired. I'm emotionally, I'm physically. She's drained. She wore flats to Disney World, okay? Like, she's tired. Her feet are tired. She was a fool and wore Tory Burch flats. I was the only person in the park wearing flats, so I have to rest. I have to let my little toesies breathe. So today, I actually have a lot of work to do, but I'm going to allow myself, give myself an hour. I know next week I'm giving myself a whole half day of rest. So it doesn't have to look the same every day. My, suggestion is tapping in, feeling in what you need today. But that shit has to be scheduled. Like, I literally scheduled December 13th, like at the end of November, like a half day of rest. Like, I scheduled that shit because I know I won't do it. And I scheduled today an hour of rest, and I see myself being like, well, what if we just watch Christmas movies and work at the same time? I see myself wanting to override it. So schedule it, because if it's on paper, if it's in your digital cal, you're more likely to do it. And again, it doesn't need to look the same. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, it could be an hour. It doesn't matter. But we do need to give our bodies that space to breathe, surrender, do the things. Speaking of surrender, we talked about this a little bit, before, but it feels more safe to hustle and to go and to do the things. But let's continue to allow that space to surrender, allow that space to free fall, but actually kind of free fall. That actually kind of works. And there's a lot of components why, like we talked about, maybe surrendering feels scary. Maybe it's easier to control. There's components why we don't rest in this society. We're scared, like I talked about personally. We're going to die. We don't feel worthy. We don't feel like we're success. This is a big one I see a lot. Like people are like, I need to earn this much money or I need to lose this much weight and then I can rest. Like there's these it's like that carrot story, you know, like once I do this, I can have this. It's like, that's a big theme that's up for us. You know, we don't want to be lazy. Being lazy in this culture is like the scariest fucking thing. So we don't want to come off lazy. We don't trust that things will work out in our favor. We play God a lot. And whether you have a relationship, if you're like, I don't believe in anything, cool, love it. Like, I support you on this journey. But I do see people that are like, I don't know, maybe it's like God, the universe, my cat Fluffy. They believe in something, but then they still play the job of the universe because they're scared. I get it. It's fucking scary to surrender. And that's a conversation for another day, but it's not like fully surrendering and being like, I'm not going to do any work and I'm going to be a multimillionaire. Like, things are going to come to me. It is the balance of, I'm going to take inspired action. I'm going to do the things. You know, I am going to produce in a way that feels good, but I'm also going to have a relationship to trusting something bigger than myself that I am taking care of. Or when shit hits the fan, I can take care of myself. But it feels scary. And this is why we overproduce and we don't allow ourselves space to really rest. So I'm going to throw a little question your way. Why do you think you're resistant to rest? You know, is it the worthiness component? Is it fear? Is it, you know, well, all of it's fear, honestly. But, you know, what flavor, what shade of fear is making you resistant to rest? So thinking about that. And then what do you want your relationship to rest look like? Like in an ideal world, if I had, you know, Harry Potter's magic wand, we'll say Dumbledore. I think Dumbledore's a little bit more badass. So we have Dumbledore's badass wand, and he's like, you're a wizard, Harry. Well, that's actually Hagrid. But they're like, you're a wizard. And you have this whole, you know, really healthy, delicious relationship to rest that feels good, that feels in integrity with your values. And, you know, it feels good to you. It doesn't feel like too much. It feels like it lands in your body. What does that look like for you? And I know I need to always reflect on that too. You know, like what does that aligned relationship to rest, shedding, relaxation look like for you in your life? Taking a second to think about that. So often we use, you know, not resting as a way to avoid too, you know, and just keep going. I'm avoiding rest. I'm avoiding myself. And, you know, this is a little personal tale. I told you a lot of tales. I can't believe I told you about Dora. I did not fucking expect that. But I noticed a family pattern of my family of origin. I'm obsessed with my family. Don't fuck with my family. We're as thick as thieves. But I noticed a family pattern within my family that I'm actively trying to break, but it's fucking hard because it's deeply in me. And we have this pattern, the Weedalites. We have this pattern that we actually celebrate our burnout. I don't know if you do this or you know people that do this, but it's like a badge of honor because, you know, it's a badge of honor of like, yeah, I woke up at 4:00 and then I didn't stop until, you know, midnight and I got 2 hours of sleep. Like, it's like we, in a gross way, you know, no shade to us. And it's not all of us, so I don't want to throw my whole family under the bus. I will call myself out on this. We get off on like, yeah, it's so tough. The blood, sweat, and tears. Because I know for me, and I'll speak personally, there's so much shame in this culture about it being easy, about it being free-flowing, about it being safe to receive. And so my family, especially me, I'll talk for myself, really gets off on it being hard. And it being like, oh, I earned that fucking cent. You know, like every fucking cent I earn has to be tough and it has to be hard. And I'm worthy. I'm finally worthy. So you think that person is going to allow rest into their life? No, Nanette. That feels like a fucking threat. You know what I mean? Like when you feel like it has to be blood, sweat, and tears, when you feel like it has to be so hard, you're not going to allow ease into your life. You're not going to allow flow into your life. You're not going to allow rest. Rest feels like a threat. You know, you have to keep going. You have to keep hustling. You know, it's that type of energy. So rest feels fucking scary. So if that resonates with you, I am with you. You know, this is a big conversation. You know, it's not as sexy as pleasure, but it's a big conversation we're having. This is a brain, body, soul, honestly, conversation we're having, and it's hard, you know? So I don't suggest like fully diving into the deep end, like let's inch by inch get there. And again, that's why I'm here to hold you through this, because it's very hard sometimes, but you got it and I'm proud of you and you deserve rest. And because, you know, I came from the family lineage of it's hot to hustle, it's hot to burn out, you know, it's this badge of honor. I wasn't prioritizing my rest. That felt fucking scary. That felt like I was going to die. What was happening was I would burn out quickly. I would get triggered. Like I told you in Disney, I became like, she was not the happiest place on earth inside. Like eventually I got very triggered because I wasn't prioritizing my rest, because I wasn't prioritizing taking good care of myself, because that felt really scary. That surrender felt really aggressive and like a threat to my life. And so I'm with you if this conversation's triggering. So like first things first, let's easily tell our brain, I'm safe, I got you. Then we'll move to the body, nourishing the body, taking care of the body. And I am here. I know this is like, fuck, this feels overwhelming, but I'm here to talk about it with you. I'm here to hold you through this. We're having a big conversation. There's a metaphysical text, and I'm going to butcher the saying, but you'll go with me on this, is the ego is this loud, thunderous voice, but the voice of the spirit / the soul is like this quiet whisper. But when we're in hustle, when we're in overdrive, when we're in burnout, we don't fucking hear the soft voice. We don't hear the soft voice of the soul and the spirit and love and alignment. We don't hear that because we're so hustle and move and aggression, and I don't feel safe and I have to forge forward. And there is beauty / safety / love, insight, wisdom, and getting quiet. So one more invitation is like, how do you want to get quiet? Is it through traditional, I'm going to lay in bed and just look out the window? Is it, I'm going to start a meditation practice that feels nourishing to me? Is it, I'm going to, shut off my phone an hour before bed? I don't care. It's irrelevant. Again, I'm here to help you if you need to, whatever you need to do to formulate something realistic. But the intention is to having that time to get back to yourself, right? Because all of this hustle, all of this aggression is like outside. My invitation, fuck it, I was trying to look for a word, but who cares? My invitation is, how can we feel safe enough to go inward, to listen to our intuition, to take good care of ourselves, to have a relationship with ourselves that is intuitive and free-flowing and leading from a place of love and alignment and joy and pleasure, versus so much fucking fear, outside hustle, outside blood, sweat, and tears. So that's the invitation. When we're in a space of, like I'm in panic mode, like how can we get back, even if it's just for a moment, to being in my body, to being and listening to my inner voice, to leading from this place of truth, love, alignment, joy, pleasure. And I'll end this episode like I started it. We love a circle moment. This is your permission slip to rest. We don't love rest in this culture. It's fucking scary, like I talked about. It's triggering every time. So I have to do deep, deep work on rest. So I wanted to normalize this conversation, and let's keep this conversation going. I am here. If you need help around relationship to rest or anything that we talked about, you know where to find me. I talked about it earlier. It's in the show notes. You know where to find me. Go to my gram, go to my website. I'm here to support you during this. It's a tricky conversation, but I'm here for you. I'm here for you. And let's go out there and let's really change our relationship to rest. I know it's like, I still feel the heebies, Erica. But this is to us really changing our relationship to rest, really prioritizing our rest, really prioritizing our healing and making it safe to slow down and focusing on our nervous system and our brain, like, having a safe space to land versus being in fucking overdrive and panic. Here's to us making it easy, having a relationship with ease, having a relationship with being in surrender, being free-flowing, being in alignment, and letting it be one that really nurtures us, supports us, to not only to survive, but to fucking thrive. I love you so much. You're the bad ass human that I love, and I know. I love you so much. Now go. Get the fuck out of here. Shut this shit off. Go get some sleep. Go get some rest. Go look out the window. I love you. And I can't wait to hear what's on your rest menu. I can't wait to hear what comes up for you on your rest journey, what you're resistant about, where you want to go. I'm here for you. Let's keep the conversation going. Go, go, go. Get some rest, my little baby. I love you. thank you, seriously thank you so much for joining me on today's episode and on this podcast journey. And if you loved what we talked about today, and you know another human who could definitely benefit from what was discussed, I would so appreciate if you would go ahead and share this podcast with them. Don't forget, hit subscribe or follow so you never ever miss an episode. And the great news is, you can always follow me, my work, my blog, my podcast, on my website at www.wethelight.org. And hey, remember, life is so much brighter when we shine. I'll see you next time.